In today's video, we're going to be talking about this AIREK Competition RDA. It's supposed to chuck the clouds. So that's what they all market. It's supposed to be a game changer. That's what they say on the site that I received this from. A game changer. I don't know about that, but it does have some features that jumped out at me that caught my attention that I've been enjoying. So I'm going to go over them with you. I'm going to go over this whole thing and tell you if I like it. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, for you single coilers out there, you guys that love to run single coils, this thing does not run in single coil mode. It only runs in dual or quad coil mode. Just like I mentioned, this is a competition RDA. It's for you guys who want to compete in the cloud chasing competitions. You want to fog it. You want to blow it. You want to chuck it. I mean, it's for those guys, okay? For single coilers, just like I said, this doesn't have that option, but the flavor in dual coil mode, the flavor in quad coil mode. I've been running this thing mostly in dual coil mode. Flavor's great. And I'm going to show you guys in the close-ups, but this is what drew me to this device. This is what caught my attention, and I was like, whoa, I got to try this. With this device, you've got two different modes you can run this thing in. Right now, I'm running this thing in tiny mode. I call it tiny mode. It's where you can take the middleman out. You can take the inner sleeve out completely. You have a top cap and then the outer barrel. And what that does is it drops. I mean, it drops the chamber. It becomes a tiny chamber, and that's why I call this thing tiny mode. You can either run it with the massive holes up top, or you can run it in these smaller holes up top. Either way, again, show you guys in the close-ups. I got a 0.5 ohm build in here right now, sitting on this rig, this copper rig. This copper rig, man, I got a full review coming on it, but she's a beast. Beast! Yes, I got her on here. Got a freshly charged battery. Gonna fire her right up for you. Ready? The flavor is fantastic. Fantastic in tiny mode. It's not really too much of an airy draw, but it's just airy enough. And with this 0.5 ohm build, it's my cup of tea. It really is. I go down, the lowest I'll go is 0.3, 0.35 ohm build. And with that, in this mode, it's just right. I mean, it's on the cusp of being too hot, but it's perfect for me. Now, here we go. I'm going to go ahead and switch it up. Take this top cap out. I'm going to switch it over to where the three huge holes, huge ass 4mm holes at the top. Three massive holes at the top, and we're gonna vapor. Oh yeah, and just for tits and giggles, I went ahead and put a 0.3 ohm build in here. 0.3 ohm build. Gotta build it lower if I got more airflow. It evens everything out. And surprisingly, the flavor is still damn good. A little airy for my taste. I need a little bit more of that dense, that restricted feel, but it's kick-ass. I mean, the vapor reduction, you see it, fogging it. It's for the cloud chasers. That is what this thing is for. But that's in tiny mode. You can also pop this this inner sleeve back in there, and you can do the adjustable airflow, because in tiny mode, you can't adjust the airflow. There's no inner sleeve, so you can't adjust, but pop that inner sleeve back in there, you can adjust it, and you can take her all the way down, which we're going to do right now. There it is, the inner sleeve on there. As you guys can see, it jumps it up quite a bit in height, okay? So it's going to increase the size of that chamber. I got her closed off. Closed her off on both sides. Let's test her out. Noticeably more dense in this mode than it is in tiny mode. Again, I had the inner sleeve in there, closed off pretty much all the way on both sides with a 0.3 ohm build. It was just a more dense vape using the same exact juice in both modes. Tiny mode, the vape is definitely hotter in tiny mode. Obviously, it's going to be because you're decreasing the size of the chamber. But when you increase the size of the chamber and you close off that airflow off just a little bit, you're going to get more vapor production. Especially with this build, with the way this thing is engineered you are. That just goes to show you that the more airflow you have, okay, doesn't matter, doesn't mean you're going to produce more vapor production. It's all about how much airflow you have. Do you have the right amount of airflow for the build that you have in here? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to increase her wide open, and we're going to vapor, and then I'm going to close her off more, and then we're going to vapor again, and you guys be the judge. Okay, I got her wide open in extended mode, both sides. It's like you're getting a lot of vapor there, but it's just not as dense. Okay, now I closed off one hole on each side, so I got two holes in front of the coils on each side, and then the massive ones, the 4mm air holes. It got denser! It's all about the right amount of airflow. The right amount of airflow. Remember that? Yep, it's starting to get, the flavor is even getting better. The flavor is getting more saturated. I'm getting more of a dense type of flavor. Dense type of vape. It's what I want. It's what I'm looking for. Now I'm going to close her off. Just one hole on each side. One giant hole on each side. So yeah, after showing you all that, I like to run this thing in 2 modes. I prefer 2 modes, that is. And 1, extended mode with the closed off, pretty much closed off all the way on both sides. And then 2, in tiny mode. And in tiny mode, I like to use the smaller holes, the 3 smaller 2mm holes up top. And the Kanthal I've been pretty much using exclusively for this RDA has been 24 gauge. 24 gauge Kanthal, running in dual coil between 0.3 and 0.5 ohms. It's time to dive down and show you guys this thing. You ready? Here's the AIREK Competition RDA packaging. Looks just like a freaking shift knob, doesn't it? Little tour, little tour. She's made of aluminum, okay, and then at the base, you see the Projectile Ops logo, serial number 181, machined in the good old Philippines. But yeah, she looks just like a freaking shift knob. It is kind of hefty, I tell you what, especially with the atomizer in there, but without the atomizer in there, this thing is hefty. Packaging, to me, it's a plus. I like it. I haven't seen anything like it. It's definitely unique, definitely different. Screw the cap off, and then inside there you got your AIREK RDA, as you guys can see. Oh yeah. So here she is, the old AIREK RDA. This is a competition RDA for you cloud chasers. This thing is a 22mm dripper. It's made of 306 stainless steel. Okay, get the 510 pin at the base. It's got a copper 510 pin at the base, and it is adjustable. Just like you guys saw in the packaging, 181 is the serial number, and then this thing is manufactured by a company called Projectile Ops. And there are your 510 threads for this device. And then you've got AIREK, AIREK, engraved on the side. And here's the good old top cap. As you guys can see, you got this nice little bevel, nice little touch. This device is made for your dual coils or quad coil builds. You got 3 massive holes on each side. Well, actually 6, which we'll get into, these 3 bottom ones. But yeah, 3 holes on each side. Massive. Whoa, whoa, whoa. So the top cap is all the way to the top. Then down here, you got your inner sleeve. And then out here, you got your outer sleeve. Okay, and how it works is you grip on to the inner sleeve and twist. And that's how you adjust your airflow, like so. So you can close her off. Open her up more, wide open. I mean, that's how it works. That's the adjustable airflow. Whatever you adjust on this side is going to be the exact same on this side. Or you can take this inner sleeve out of the equation, pull it out all the way, take the outer barrel and flip it over just like so. Pop that sucker on the deck, pop the top cap on there. And what that does is it reduces the chamber and allows you to use these smaller air holes on each side, which are 1.8, 1.9 millimeters in diameter. And that's just another way you can run this sucker. And here's the deck for this device. You get your 3-post design. Negative posts are milled into the deck. You got your Phillips head screws, which tighten down and make a connection with all your leads. And your post holes are 2.5 millimeters in diameter. Okay, the juice well is an average size juice well. Your peak insulator, as you guys can see, is at the base. And then you got your single O-ring to fasten down your cap, inner sleeve, outer sleeve. Oh yeah. One more look at the deck. Here's the AIREK all broken down. You've got your deck, you've got your inner sleeve, your outer sleeve, and your top cap. Inner sleeve, here it is, little tour. Few scratches there. Outer sleeve tour. Man, look at the inside of that. Holy crap, scratch up top. Inner sleeve fits into the outer sleeve like so. Adjust your airflow like so. Top cap fits into the inner sleeve. Top cap, inner barrel, and outer barrel fit over the deck. So that is the AIREK RDA, the close-up of the AIREK RDA. Let's go ahead and take her back to FaceTime. Alrighty, so that is the AIREK RDA, competition RDA. Now there's a few cons, there's a few pros. I want to go over the cons first though. First con, okay, the drip tip. Drip tip hole is a little bit on a smaller side, and I know that because only half my drip tips that I own, and I got a ton of drip tips, only half of them are compatible, fit snug as a bug. The other half, they just don't fit. It fits down halfway, it's just too tight. And the second con, the inside of that outer barrel, you guys just saw, that thing was botched the freak up, man. Botched up. If I'm going to invest $80, I want this thing to be as mint as freaking possible. And you could definitely see that it ain't mint. It ain't mint. Not on the inside of that outer barrel. I don't care if you can't see it. Hell, I could see it when I put it together. When I showed you guys, whoever machined this sucker, they really the egg on that one. You know what I'm saying? Not good, not good, not good, subpar. And that leads me to talk about machining and quality control, etc. Rating this thing from a 1 to 10 scale, I give this thing a 5.5, 6. 5.5, 6 out of a 10. It's definitely below average. And it's below average because, you know, I saw a few scratches on the outside and also the inside of that barrel. Like I said, someone shit the bed with that one, someone the turd. They really dropped the ball. I mean, it's botched up on the inside of the outer barrel. So, like I said, got to give it a 5.5, 6 out of a 10. And I forgot to mention this, the machine oil aspect. I mean, there was machine oil all over this sucker. Machine oil in the post, all on the deck. I don't know what it is with these Filipino products. This thing's made in the Philippines, by the way. I talked to a buddy of mine, and he's a distributor, and he was like, man, I'm done buying from the Philippines. I'm done. And I was like, why? And he's like, they don't clean their shit. They don't clean it. They're dirty as hell. Clean your product up. If you're selling this thing for 80 bucks, 100 bucks, 120, doesn't matter. If people are investing their money into this, clean your shit up. Now on to the pros. 1, this is a 22mm RDA, fits on all my mechanical mods, sits down flush, makes a connection. 2, love the adjustable airflow options, love how you can flip the freaking barrel, the outside barrel, love how you can take out the inner sleeve and you can drop it in tiny mode. The flavor I'm getting off this between a 0.3 and a 0.5 ohm build using 24 gauge Canthal is freaking fantastic. Fantastic. How do I rate it with some of my favorite RDAs, my favorite single coil RDAs that I prefer using? Okay, it's up there. It's up there. Is it up there with something like the Vertex version 2? No, not in my opinion. Is it up there with a Plumeveil 1.2? You know, it's close. For a competition RDA, this has been a real treat. It's been my favorite competition RDA that I've used to date as far as chucking the clouds and the flavor. And I'll tell you what, it chucks way more vapor than something like the Vertex version 2. It chucks more vapor than something like the Plumeveil 1.2. It chucks more vapor than something like the Marquis. It chucks it, but the flavor is not quite there. Again, whenever you're vaping, you're always sacrificing one for the other. Is it a huge difference as far as flavor production for those devices than something like this? No, it's not. Okay, it's not. But it's a slight difference. A slight. Also, for the price, it's a great deal in my opinion. I mean, it's very affordable. It's competitive. I mean, it's right there with something like the Dark Horse. It's right there. I actually prefer this over the Dark Horse. I get way better flavor off this than I do the Dark Horse. Okay, and I get not quite as many airflow options. I mean, that Dark Horse is crazy, but it does the job. Yeah. Another pro, this thing does have a copper adjustable 510 pin, so you can adjust it up and down. It's super conductive. The post holes are 2.5 millimeters in diameter, so you can use, you know, 20 gauge, 22 gauge, the freaking fat ass wires. The juice well is pretty deep. I mean, I could fit a good amount of juice in here, a good amount of cotton, and I love how the negative posts are milled into the deck. I sound like a freaking broken record, but a lot of these devices nowadays, they're freaking the same. I mean, people are copying each other until someone comes out with something totally different, but they're still all pros. I mean, the negative post being milled into the deck, it's going to be more conductive, it's going to give me a better connection, it's going to hit harder. So I got to mention it. The online vape shop that sent this bad boy to me is a company called Vape Naked. VapeNaked.com. Okay, here's their link. I'll have a link in the description. Here's the big question for you and the big answer. If I'd have lost this thing today, would I go back tomorrow and buy one? And the answer is yes. After using this and using it on mechanical mods, I've got so many mechanical mods coming into me. It's ridiculous. I got so many copper mods, so many different stainless steel, brass mods, gold plated mods, silver plated mods. Got all these mods coming in, and I want an RDA that I can use on here that I'm going to love. And this one, I think this is it. A great dual coiler, a great cloud chaser, a great flavor chaser. It really is. It does it all. The only thing it doesn't do is single coils, but you know what? That's not a con to me because they mention it's a competition RDA, meaning cloud chasing, and most of these guys that are cloud chasing, they're blowing and flogging and fogging and frogging and whatever, okay? They're freaking using dual or quad coils, most of them dual coils, but so that's not a big thing. So yeah, I would buy one. I'd go buy it if I lost it today. I'd go buy another one. Yep. This is Rip Trippers, and remember, smoking is dead, vaping is the future, and the future is now.